But Tom thought of But Tom thought of something and says, "You got any spiders in here, Jim?" "No, sir, thanks to goodness I ain't, Master Tom." "All right, we'll get you some." "But bless you, honey, I don't want none. I'm afraid of 'em. I just as soon have rattlesnakes around." Tom thought a minute or two and said, "It's a good idea, and I reckon it's been done. It must have been done. It stands to reason. Yes, it's a prime good idea. Where could you keep it?" "Keep what, Master Tom?" "Why, a rattlesnake." "The goodness gracious alive, Master Tom. Why, if there was a rattlesnake to come in here, I'll take and bust right out through that log wall. I would, with my head." "Why, Jim, you wouldn't be afraid of it after a little. You could tame it." "Tame it?" "Yes, easy enough. Every animal is grateful for kindness and petting, and they wouldn't think of hurting a person that pets them. Any book will tell you that. You try. That's all I ask. Just try for 2 or 3 days. Why, you can get him so in a little while that he'll love you and sleep with you and won't stay away from you a minute, and will let you wrap him round your neck and put his head in your mouth." "Please, Master Tom, don't talk so. I can't stand it. He let me shove his head in my mouth for a favor, ain't it? I let he'd wait a powerful long time before I asked him. And more than that, I don't want him to sleep with me." "Jim, don't act so foolish. A prisoner's got to have some kind of a dumb pet. And if a rattlesnake ain't ever been tried, why, there's more glory to be gained in your being the first to ever try it than any other way you could ever think of to save your life." "Why, Master Tom, I don't want no such glory. Snake taken by Jim's chin off, then what is the glory? No, sir, I don't want no such doings." "Blame it, can't you try? I only want you to try. You needn't keep it up if it don't work." "But the trouble done if the snake bite me. Why, I's a-trying him, Master Tom. I's willing to tackle most anything that ain't unreasonable, but if you and Huck fetches a rattlesnake in here for me to tame, I'm going to leave. That's sure." "Well then, let it go, let it go. If you're so bullheaded about it, we can get you some garter snakes, and you can tie some buttons on their tails and let on their rattlesnakes, and I reckon they'll have to do." "I can't stand them, Master Tom. But blame if I couldn't get along without 'em. I tell you that, I never knew before it was so much bother and trouble to be a prisoner." "Well, it always is when it's done right. You got any rats around here?" "No, sir, I ain't seen none." "Well, we'll get you some rats." "Why, Master Tom, I don't want no rats. They's the dad blamest creatures disturb a body and rustle around over him and bite his feet when he's trying to sleep I ever see. No, sir, give me garter snakes if I've got to have 'em. But don't give me no rats. I ain't got no use for 'em, scarcely." "But Jim, you've got to have them. They all do. So don't make no more fuss about it. Prisoners ain't ever without rats. There ain't no instance of it. And they train them and pet them and learn them tricks, and they've got to be as sociable as flies. Or you got to play music to them. You got anything to play music on?" "I ain't got nothing but a coarse comb and a piece of paper and a juice harp, but I reckon they wouldn't take no stock in a juice harp." "Yes, they would. They don't care what kind of music 'tis. A juice harp's plenty good enough for a rat. All animal likes music. In a prison, they dote on it, especially painful music. And you can't get no other kind out of a juice harp. It always interests them. They come out to see you, to see what's the matter with you. Yes, you're all right. You're fixed very well. You want to sit on your bed nights before you go to sleep and early in the mornings and play your juice harp. Play The Last Link is Broken. That's the thing that'll scoop a rat quicker than anything else. And when you've played about 2 minutes, you'll see all the rats and the snakes and spiders and things begin to feel worried about you and come. And they'll just fairly swarm over you and have a noble good time. Yes, they will, I reckon, Master Tom, but what kind of time is Jim having? Blessed if I can see the point, but I'll do it if I got to. I reckon I better keep the animals satisfied, and I'll have no trouble in the house. Tom waited to think over and see if there wasn't nothing else, and pretty soon he says, "Oh, there's one thing I've forgotten. Could you raise a flower here, do you reckon?" "I don't know, but maybe I could, Master Tom. But it's tolerable dark in here, and I got no use for no flower, nohow, and she'd be a powerful sight of trouble." "Well, you try it anyway. Some other prisoners have done it. One of them big cattail-looking mullein stalks would grow in here, Master Tom, I reckon. but she wouldn't be worth half the trouble she caused. Don't you believe it? We'll fetch you a little one, and you plant it in the corner over there and raise it. And don't call it mullen, call it pitiola. That's its right name when it's in a prison and you want to water it with your tears. Why I got plenty spring water, Master Tom. You don't want spring water. You want to water it with your tears. It's the way they always do. Why, Master Tom, I can raise one of them mullen stalks twist with spring water whilst another man's stirring one with tears. That ain't the idea. You got to do it with tears. She'll die on my hands, Master Tom. She surely will, 'cause I don't scarcely ever cry. So Tom was stumped, but he studied it over and then said Jim would have to worry along the best he could with an onion. He promised he would go to the end's cabin and drop one, private, in Jim's coffee pot in the morning. Jim said he'd just soon have tobacco in his coffee and found so much fault with it, and with the work and bother of raising the mullen and use harping the rats and petting and flattering up the snakes and spiders and things, on top of all the other work he had to do on pens and inscriptions and journals and things, which made him more trouble and worry and responsibility to be a prisoner than anything he ever undertook, that Tom almost lost all patience with him, and said he was just loaded down with more gaudier chances than a prisoner ever had in the world to make a name for himself, and yet he didn't know enough to appreciate them, and they were just about wasted on him. So Jim, he was sorry and said he wouldn't behave so no more, and then me and Tom shoved for bed.